हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा राहुल प्रभु, राधिका माता जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्णा। We able to see the screen? It's strange.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Krishna. I can hear you. I'm just somehow stuck to figure out a way to
Yes, Prabhuji. Can.
Write something on Facebook. I think they have changed a lot. Anyway, let's proceed. I want to save some time, not waste. Okay, I'll find a way later how to put it on Facebook. Right now, please let me know if you can see the screen, the text.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you want to read?
Yeah.
Please.
You want to start prayers?
No, you start prayer. I'll set it.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Conversation between Manu and Kardama. Vidura said, the line of Swayambhuva Manu was most esteemed. O worshipful sage, I beg you, give me an account of this race, whose progeny multiplied through sexual intercourse. The two great sages of Swayambhuva Manu, Priyavrata and Uttanapada, ruled the world, consisting of 7 islands, just according to religious principles. O holy Brahmana, O sinless one, you have spoken of this his daughter, known by the name Devahuti, as the wife of the sage Kardama, the lord of created beings. How many offsprings did that great yogi beget through the princess, who was endowed with eightfold perfection in the yoga principles? How pray tell me this, for I am eager to hear it. O holy sage, tell me how the worshipful Ruchi and Daksha, the son of Brahma, generated children after securing as their wives the other 2 daughters of Swayambhuva Manu. The great sage Maitreya replied, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds, the worshipful Kardama Muni practiced penance on the bank of river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years. During that period of penance, the sage Kardama, by worship through devotional service in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for protection. Then in the Satya Yoga, the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased, showed himself to the Kardama Muni and displayed his transcendental form, which can be understood only through the Vedas. Kardama Muni saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is free from material contamination in his eternal form, effulgent like the sun, wearing a garland of white lotus and water lilies. The Lord was clad in spotless yellow silk, and his lotus face was fringed with slick dark locks of curly hair. Adorned with a crown and earrings, he held his characteristic conch disc and mace in 3 of his hands and a white lily in the 4th. He glanced about in a happy, smiling mood whose sight captivates the hearts of all devotees. A golden streak on his chest, the famous Kaustubha gem suspended from his neck. He stood in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda. When Kardama Muni actually realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person, he was greatly satisfied because his transcendental desire was fulfilled. He fell on the ground with his head bowed to offer obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord. His heart, naturally full of love of God, with folded hands, he satisfied the Lord with prayers. The great sage Kardama said, O supreme worshipful Lord, my power of sight is now fulfilled, having attained the greatest perfection of the sight of you, who are the reservoir of all existences. Through, through many successive birth of deep meditation, advanced yogis aspire to see your transcendental form. Your lotus feet are the true vessel to take one across the ocean of mundane nescience. Only persons deprived of their intelligence by the spell of the deluding energy will worship those feet with a view to attain the trivial and momentary pleasure of the senses, which even persons rotting in hell can attain. However, O my Lord, you are so kind that you bestow mercy even upon me. Therefore,
Upon
desiring to
them.
marry
Upon them.
upon them, sorry, upon them. Therefore, desiring to marry a girl of like disposition who may prove to be a veritable cow of plenty in my married life, to satisfy my lustful desire, I too have sought the shelter of your lotus feet, which are the source of everything, for you are like a desire tree. O my Lord, you are the master and leader of all living entities. Under your direction, all conditioned souls, as if bound by rope, are constantly engaged in satisfying their desires. Following them, O embodiment of religion, I also bear oblations for you, who are eternal time. However, persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and beastly followers of these affairs, who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from the primary necessities of the material body. Your wheel, which has three naves, rotates around the axis of the imperishable Brahman. It has 13 spokes, 360 joints, 6 rims, and numberless leaves curved upon it. Though its revolution cuts short the life span of entire creation, this wheel of tremendous velocity cannot touch the lifespan of the devotee of the Lord. My dear Lord, you alone create the universes. O personality of Godhead, desiring to create these universes, you create them, maintain them, again wind them upon by your own energies, which are under the control of your second energy called Yogamaya. Just as a spider creates a cobweb by its own energy and again winds it up. My dear Lord, although it is not your desire, you manifest this creation of gross and subtle elements just for our sensual satisfaction. Let your causeless mercy be upon us, for you have appeared before us in your eternal form, adorned with a splendid breath of tulasi leaves. I continuously offer my respectable obeisances unto your lotus feet, of which it is worthy to take shelter, because you shower all benedictions on the insignificant, to give all living entities detachment from fruitive activity by realizing you. You have expanded these material worlds by your own energy. Maitreya resumed, sincerely extolled in these words, Lord Vishnu, shining very beautifully on the shoulders of Garuda, replied with words as sweet as nectar.
Okay.
His eyebrows.
Again, yeah, let's try to cover this part today. Yeah, thank you. How did you find reading these verses? It's a
Thank you
starting of
very
a
much.
very nice episode, conversation between Devahuti and Kardama, which goes for chapters together until Kapila Dev comes, and even then Kardama Muni renunciate. So it's a long story, but this is the starting point.
I felt very happy to read, at least today.
After a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let me offer my prayer and then we start. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कथामह्यं ददति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलान् श्रीगुरु वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणरघुनाथान्वितां तां सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाख अन्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबांधो जगतपते गोपीशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैस्तिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna once again. So it's a very nice conversation that is by the grace of Vidura. So Vidura is asking Maitreya Rishi further after hearing to Swayambhuva Manu Varaha Swami incarnation in Satya Yuga. So he is further asking some important questions here. So he is putting forward the line of Swayambhuva Manu was most esteemed, very highly considered, regarded, and very famous. So, O worshipful sage, I beg you, give me an account of this race whose progeny multiplied through sexual intercourse. So here, two things are there. I think in some purport, Prabhupada mentions also. Vidura is in Vaivasvata Manu. Yeah, and Swayambhuva Manu. Yeah, so which means a history. Vidura is asking what happened in the past. And that too he picked Swayambhuva Manu, where so many pastimes have taken place, and of course that pastimes is not interested more on um, sensual platform where it's about sex intercourse. And let me go to the purport. Yeah. So actually Vidura was not interested in hearing the history of persons who merely engaged in sex life, but he was interested in progeny of Swayambhuva Manu, because in that dynasty good devotee kings appeared who protected their subjects very carefully with spiritual knowledge. So this is very important. If we can have a hope of good development in the society, it is not through the science, material science, but it is through spiritual science. Yeah, so this is how in the times of Swayambhuva Manu it was given high regard and value, attention, and then the rulers were protecting their subjects very carefully. And then by hearing the history of their activities, therefore one becomes more enlightened. So if we don't discuss these important topics, what may happen is we may not even have a clue of how to get out of these problems that we are creating day in, day out. So the way out is to know how how the realized souls have handled such situations. They were also in material world. There are also these influences of modes of nature. There is also um, uh, the challenges that we are facing, whether it's gross body or um, subtle body. Hmm. So by hearing the history of their activities, therefore one becomes more enlightened. And that's why here the word Parama Sammata. Sammata means agreed, approved, authentic. Parama means highly, great. So in that way, which indicates the progeny created by Swayambhu Manu and his sons was approved of by great authorities. Yeah? So in other words, sex life for creating exemplary population is acceptable to all sages and authorities of Vedic scriptures. So yeah, that is the reason why Viduraji is asking, please uh, start explaining about Swayambhava Manu and progeny, etc. Mm, so that is a kind of, and then he goes with the two great sons of Swayambhava Manu, Priyavrata and Uttanapada, ruled the world consisting of 7 islands. And Prabhupada gives that what are the 7 islands? Even today we are calling them Asia, Europe, Africa, America, Australia, and North and South poles. Yeah, Antarctica and Arctica. There is no chronological history of all the Indian kings in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, but the deeds of most important kings, such as Priyavrata and Uttanapad, and many others like Lord Ramchandra, Maharaj, Yudhishthir, are recorded because the activities of such pious kings are worth hearing. People may benefit by studying their histories. So if at all we want to, if we have appetite of knowing what happened, we don't want to go to those bronze, what do you call it, Stone Age. Uh, I don't know what are the other ages, but it's about when we go to hear the history of Lord Ramchandra, Maharaj Yudhishthir, how they have ruled in various circumstances. That gives us that that gives that satisfies or satiates our appetite of knowing about our purvaj, about our past history. At the same time also gives um, devotional benefits because they are connected with the Supreme Lord. And then yeah, so then he's saying, please, you have spoken of his daughter known as Devahuti, who is Devahuti as the wife of sage Kardama, the lord of created beings. So here he's asking, uh, here we are speaking of Swayambhu Manu, and in this connection, I think it's mentioned here about Bhagavad Gita. We hear about Vaivasvata Manu, yeah, and the pastime that we will be discussing or Viduraji is interested is about Swayambhu Manu. The present age belongs to Vaivasvata Manu. Yeah, and here there is explanation further that there are 14 Manus in one day of life of Brahma, and in the life of each Manu there are particular incidents. Huh? The Vaivasvata Manu of Bhagavad Gita is different from Swayambhuva Manu. Yeah. Let me actually open this in the advanced mode, then I don't have to toggle. And then he is asking, how many offsprings did they great yogi beget through the princess? Huh? And what kind of princess is she? Huh? Very careful. Yuktayam yoga lakshanai. So she is not an ordinary person. Devahuti, Mahayogi. First of all, here there are two words. Kardama Muni is addressed as Mahayogi, and Devahuti is addressed as Yoga Lakshana. Huh? Um, I think it is in this purport. There is this mention. Yeah. So here we are talking about Ashtanga Yoga, 8 divisions of yoga, which are described as Yama, niyama, control of senses, strict following of the rules and regulations, practice of different sitting postures, control of breath, withdrawing the senses from sense objects, pratyahara, concentration of mind, what is that? Dhyanam, meditation, dharanam, and self-realization, samadhi. After self-realization, this is very important. After self-realization, there are 8 further perfectional stages known as yoga siddhis. The husband and wife, Kardama and Devahuti, were advanced in yoga practice. That's why husband was a Mahayogi, great mystic, and the wife was a Yoga Lakshana, or one advanced in yoga. So both are experts. They united and produced children. Formally, this is very important principle that's mentioned here further, that formally after making their lives perfect, great sages and saintly persons used to beget children. Otherwise, they strictly observed the rules and regulations of celibacy. So, brahmacharya, following the rules and regulations of celibacy is required for perfection of self-realization and mystic power. There is no recommendation in Vedic scripture that one can go on enjoying material sense gratification at one's whims as one likes, and at the same time become a great meditator by paying a rascal some money. So this Prabhupada has repeatedly brought up in different purports, because this this cannot go hand in hand. Why? Because with sense enjoyment there is no scope of liberation. Because sense enjoyment is conditioning, and when one is conditioned there is no question of liberation. Yeah. Anyway, further. Yeah, and then he here is referring that Ruchir. Yeah, he's also asking you, Ruchir, yo Bhagavan Brahman Dakshova Brahmana Sutta. So here he is referring that, tell me how the worshipful Ruchi and Daksha, the sons of Brahma, generated children after securing as their wives the other 2 daughters of Swayambhuva Manu. Yeah, and here Prabhupada is mentioning that Swayambhuva Manu had 2 daughters, Akuti and Prasuti. Prajapati Ruchi married Akuti and Daksha married Prasuti. So these couples and their children produced immense numbers of children to populate the entire universe. So Vidura inquiry was, how did they beget the population in beginning? Na? So in that connection. And now Maitreya Rishi starts. Yeah, first always questions and then comes the answers from realized Maitreya. So he is saying, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds, the worshipful Kardama Muni practiced penance on the bank of river Saraswati. It's actually on the, what is that? Bindu Saras. Yeah, on the bank of river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years. So here, beget children. 2 important things. First thing is, we know that Lord Brahma, when he was in the process of creation, he created Narada Muni, he created Kumaras, but they had their plans which were not in line with mm, Lord Brahma. Yeah, so Lord Brahma was disturbed, mm, but yeah, there was a valid reason why Kumaras left without engaging themselves in this marriageal life and serve his father. Yeah. But it's Kardama Muni. Here we see Daksha and other Prajapatis. Uh, they have took command of his father, and what is the command is progenation. This is also what is the direction of the Lord. I think in one of the purports we come to that point. Hmm. It is understood herein that Kardama Muni meditated in yoga for 10,000 years before attaining perfection. So we are not talking about 1,000. We are not talking about 10. We are talking about 10,000 years. What should be the life? Because that was in Satya Yuga. They used to have how much? 100,000 years. That is the duration. So in that 10,000 years for attaining perfection is okay. And if you see, Prabhupada mentions about Valmiki Muni also practiced yoga meditation for 60,000 years before attaining perfection. So we are not talking about just few days. I think few days already is very challenging for us to be disciplined and do meditation. If we want to do chanting of 16 rounds every day, yeah, how 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 much are we pulling ourselves to do it? How big it is for us? So if we want to take this path of Ashtanga yoga, meditation, and attain perfection, that too in this yuga, yeah, it's more than impossible. Therefore, yoga practice can be successfully performed by persons who have a very long duration of life, first requirement, mm, and also otherwise there is no possibility, and there is also reference, yes, here. This age is not fit for that. This age is what kind of age it is? It is bluffing and quarrel. Yeah. What does that mean? It has so many bogus yoga systems. And some yoga systems say that just meditating 15 minutes daily, one can attain the perfection of becoming one with God. Uh, that's again a false. I think there is a nice word somewhere used called paltry promises. I don't know in one of the purports. Actually, there is no possibility of attaining yoga perfection here by such paltry proposals, which means fake proposals. Why? Because Vedic literature, for emphasis, clearly states 3 times that in this age of Kali, Kalau nasteva, 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 gatir anyatha. Hare Nama eva kevalam. That also. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. It is the only and only way. There is no other, no other, no other. Uh, no other alternative than Hare Nama. Chanting the holy name of the Lord. Mm. So, so now, uh, during the period of penance, sage Kardama, by worship through devotional service in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for protection. Here also very nice. The explanation given here is um, the significance of meditation. What kind of meditation is the best? What kind of meditation is actually at least purposeful, can give some result, is mentioned. What is that kind of meditation? Significance of meditation is described here. Kardama Muni practiced mystic yoga. Hmm? So, but what is the mystic yoga? Uh, Here it's clearly mentioned that for his 10,000 years just to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the goal? What is the purpose? That is the purpose. It is not freedom, it is not liberation, it is not comforts, it's not Shaktis. He is just to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. Therefore, whether one practices yoga or speculates and does research to find God, whatever ways you take, one's effort must be mixed with the process of devotion. Pure devotion is even better or even best, but at least better would be that even if one is taking to yoga, speculation, and etc., one's efforts must be mixed with the process of devotion. Without bhakti, there is no question of real mukti. There is no question of any shakti. Yeah, those things are only very cheap, like rolled gold, not the real thing. Without devotion, nothing can be perfect. I think somewhere it comes here. The target of perfection and realization is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is very important. So even Bhagavad Gita, it says, one who constantly engages in Krishna consciousness is the topmost yogi. Huh? The personality of Godhead Hari also fulfills the desires of his surrendered devotee. What one has to do? One has to surrender unto the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, Hari or Krishna, in order to achieve real success. Hmm? And then Prabhupada brings this very important point. In this age of Kali, the direct method is especially more feasible than indirect, because people are short-living. Their intelligence is poor. They are poverty-stricken and embarrassed by so many miserable disturbances. Lord Chaitanya therefore has given the greatest boon in this age. What is that? Hmm? One simply has to chant the holy name of God to attain perfection in spiritual life. And then here the word Samprapede Harim means that in various ways Kardama Muni is satisfied. Whom? Hari. Devotional service is also expressed by the word Kriya Yogena. We know this Kriya Yoga and they say that the whole Bhagavad Gita is only Kriya Yoga. Yeah. But in that Kriya Yoga, if there is no devotional service topic explained, elaborated and practiced, that Kriya Yoga is only for Shakti or free or attaining occult powers, but not real, not for the real ultimate benefit. Kardama Muni not only meditated but also engaged in devotional service. That is the main point. Even if someone comes up, the important point is, I don't know, I think Omkareshwar Prabhu, you were saying na, that there was someone who was asking about Kriya Yoga. I don't remember
Yes,
exact.
yes, Guruji, yes.
Yeah, that one has to go through. One have to, why Krishna eat butter? We have to meditate or we have to seek the truth. Huh? But without devotion, seeking is not possible because Krishna will not bless. Mm. Not only must one remember the Supreme Person, one must hear about the activities of the Lord and chant His glories. Now, yeah, you're getting the connection, Omkareshwar, that even if Kriya Yoga yogis are there, if they want to achieve success, what they have to do? They have to hear the activities of the Lord and chant His glories. Without that, just seeking cannot bring the success. This information is in authoritative scriptures. It's not something picked up based on one's own rational. Hmm? And very important, at the present moment, who will be successful in rigid performance of many yoga rules and regulations? Even if we put some simple rule, other day, yeah, Shipra Mataji was mentioning, Prabhuji, how nice it will be to do sadhana chart. I don't know how many will not attend any sessions anymore. So rules and regulations in Kali Yuga becomes kind of choking, not so easy. Moreover, perfection is attained only by those who are surrendered souls. Where there is no mention of personality of Godhead, where is their surrender? When there is no surrender, whatever kind of yoga we take, it's not successful. Unfortunately, people in this age, especially persons who are of a demonic nature, want to be cheated. Thus, the Supreme Personality of Godhead sends great cheaters who mislead them in the name of yoga and render their lives useless and doomed. So, it is the Lord's arrangement to serve those people who want to be cheated. So, the rascals of self-made authority, being puffed up by illegally collected money, perform yoga without following the authoritative books. They are very proud of the money they have plundered from innocent persons who wanted to be cheated. Anyway, we're going a little slowly, but some points are nice. Then in Satya Yuga, then in the Satya Yuga, what is the point that the lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased, showed himself to that Kardama Muni and displayed his transcendental form, which can be understood only through the Vedas. 2 points mentioned here. What are that? Two significant, I think in the purport it's two significant words. What is that? The first is that Kardama Muni attained success by yoga practice in the beginning of Satya Yuga, when people used to live for 100,000 years. That's possible. Kardama Muni attained success, and the Lord, being pleased with him, showed him his form, which is not imaginary. And what is that? What is the proof? It's not imaginary because when Kardama Muni was doing mystic yoga, what he was doing, he was meditating on the form of the Lord, and that form was not imaginary, but exactly according to Vedic literature. Shabda Brahma, the forms of the Lord, are clearly indicated in the Vedic literature. Kardama Muni did not discover any imaginary form of God, as alleged by rascals. He actually saw the eternal, blissful, and transcendental form of the Lord. Here it is about Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. I think in the 38th verse or somewhere it comes that uh, he saw the Lord face to face, and he also so the Lord who appeared in front of Kardama Muni was seeing Kardama Muni, and Kardama Muni was also seeing the Lord in the Kshirodakashayi Vishnu in his heart. So both. And what are the features of the Lord? Yeah, from here I don't know if we have time, we can cover some nice verses. Which is saying Satam Virajam Arkabham Sita Padma Utpala Shajam Snigdha Neelalaka Vrata Vaktrabhajam Virajo Ambharam. So here the features of the Lord that Kardamuni saw, who is free from material contamination, in his eternal form, effulgent like the sun, wearing a garland of white lotuses and white lilies. The Lord was clad in spotless yellow silk, and his lotus face was fringed with slick, dark locks of curly hair. That level of description is mentioned, which means Lord has a form, Lord has a beautiful form, Lord has so nice locked hair. He has hands to hold this. No, that will come next verse. He has, beautiful garland, uh, ornaments. Yeah. Kiritinam kundalininam Sankachakra-Gadadharam Svetotpalam Kridanakam Manasparsa Smitekshanam. Adorned with a crown and earrings, he held his characteristic conch disc and mace in three of his hands, and a white lily in the fourth. He glanced he glanced about in a happy, smiling mood, whose sight captivates the heart of all devotees. So his smile, which means he has a beautiful face. In that way, we can understand uh, the Lord has uh, the features, and now comes even the next one. Vinyasta charanam bhujam amsa deshe garutmata. How did he come? Drishtva khev avastitam vaksha shriyam kaustubha kandaram. A golden streak on his chest, the famous Kaustuba gem suspended from his neck. He stood in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda. And here there is explanation given. The descriptions in the verse 9 to 11 of Lord in his transcendental eternal form are understood to be descriptions from the authoritative Vedic version. So what Kardama Muni is seeing is what is already described in Vedic scriptures. So the decorations of the Lord are beyond mental conception, as admitted even by impersonalists like Shankaracharya. Why? He said, Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has nothing to do with the material creation. The varieties of transcendental Lord, His body, His forms, His dress, His instructions, His words are not manufactured by material energy, but are all confirmed in the Vedic literature. So, by performance of yoga, one can have darshan of the Lord. If anyone is asking, have you seen Lord? Yeah, I had this question posted to me. I said, I have seen him uh, in in his through his hands. Uh, that how he has handled my life all these years, uh, without which nothing could have moved forward. And there are such great yogis with their perfection, they could see the Lord face to face. So it's not that the Lord is only light or power or some impersonal, but he has form. By performance of yoga, Kardamuni actually saw the Supreme Lord as he is. There was no point in seeing an imagined form of God after practicing yoga for 10,000 years. Huh? And then here comes the form of Krishna is described in the authoritative Vedic literature Brahma Samhita. His abode is made of Chintamani stones and the Lord plays there as a cowherd boy and is served by many thousands of gopis. These descriptions are authoritative, and a Krishna conscious person takes them directly, acts on them, preaches them, and practices devotional service as enjoined in the authoritative scriptures. And then further comes this Kardama Muni, yeah, actually realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person. He was greatly satisfied because his transcendental desire was fulfilled. And now what happened? After having the darshan of the Lord, what happened? Kardama Muni, he fell on the ground with his head bowed to offer obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord. His heart naturally full of love of God, with folded hands he satisfied the Lord with prayers. This is what we should look to, what to do. Here, here there is description of yoga, perfection of yoga. After practicing the sitting postures and other regulative principles of the system, one finally reaches the stage of samadhi. In samadhi stage, one can see the supreme personality of Godhead in his partial form as Paramatma or as he is. Samadhi is described in authoritative yoga scriptures such as Patanjali Sutra to be a transcendental pleasure. The yoga system described in the books of Patanjali is authoritative, and modern so-called yogis who have manufactured their own ways, not consulting the authorities, are simply ludicrous. If the existence of supersoul and the individual is admitted, then the impersonal theory of monoism is nullified. Therefore, some impersonalists and void philosophers twist the Patanjali system in their own way and pollute the whole yoga system. So this is what happens. Anyway, in material activities, a person engages in the mode of material nature. The aspirations of such people are, I mean, this is explained in the first chapter of Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Mhm. Um, Such people are to be religious, to be economically enriched, to be able to gratify the senses, and at last to become one with the Supreme. According to the monist, when a yogi becomes one with the Supreme and loses his individual existence, he attains highest stage called Kaivalya. Whatever we call moksha. Uh, it is that one who loses the individual identity. That stage is called Kaivalyam. But actually, the stage of realization of supreme personality of Godhead is Kaivalya. So there is, because the understanding of impersonalist is Kaivalya, which is actually the stage of realization of supreme personality of Godhead. Yeah? They think that supreme personality of Godhead is only the Brahman. That there is nothing beyond. That's why they think that itself is Kaivalya. By merging. The oneness of understanding that the Supreme Lord is fully spiritual, and that in full spiritual realization one can understand what he is called Kaivalya. This is the definition. What is that? The oneness. What is that oneness between what? Between two things. Of understanding that Supreme Lord is fully spiritual, and that in full spiritual realization one can understand what he is. So this is what, first of all, admitting that Lord is spiritual, and when with full spiritual realization we should understand we can understand what he is. He is none other than the Supreme Lord. That is called Kaivalya, or in the language of Patanjali, realization of spiritual power. Anyway, so this is going more into that, and then comes this trance. This is coming about the trance. Um, is described to be of two kinds. samprata, sampragnata, sapragnata and asampragnata, or mental speculation and self-realization. In samadhi or asampragnata, uh, one can realize by his spiritual senses the spiritual form of the Lord. That is ultimate goal of spiritual realization. Anyway, because this is about Ashtanga Yoga, there is further description of all, and then the summary of what is important is has nothing to do with the transcendental. Real devotee of Bhakti Yoga accepts only the material necessities of life absolutely needed to maintain the body and the soul together. They refrain completely from all exaggerated material sense gratification. They are prepared to undergo all kinds of tribulation, provided they can make progress in the realization of personality of Godhead. And now, Rishi Uvacha. Yeah, so here Kardama Muni is going. My power of sight is now fulfilled, having attained the greatest perfection of sight of you, who are the reservoir of all existence. Through many successive births of deep meditation, advanced yogis aspire to see your transcendental form. Uh, so Kardama is saying, your lordship is the reservoir of all that can be understood by the nomenclature of goodness, and by our experience, by our experiencing your face to face, the perfection of sight has now been attained. So what is the perfection of life? To have the darshan of the Lord face to face. Yeah, and what is that? Here it's mentioned how what is the processes here. The sense of sight when engaged in seeing the beauty of the Lord is perfected. When we see the darshan of the Lord in the temple, in our home, uh, then our eyes are perfected. The power to hear when engaged in hearing the glories of the Lord is perfected. The power to taste when one enjoys by eating prasadam is perfected. When all the senses engaged in relationship with the personality of Godhead, one's perfection is technically called Bhakti Yoga, which entails detaching the senses from material indulgence and attaching them to the service of the Lord. When one is freed from all designated conditioned life and fully engages in service of the Lord, one's service is called Bhakti Yoga. Kardama Muni admits that seeing the Lord personally in Bhakti Yoga is the perfection of sight. So, that is Kardama Muni saying, it's not a concocted version. He was not a fictitious yogi. Those who are actually on the advanced path aspire only to see the eternal form of the Lord. Hmm? So, and then comes this very important. Now, Kardama Muni is saying that um, ye mayaya te hatamedastvat padarabindam bhavasindupotam upasate kamalawata lavaya tesham rasi sa kaman niraya api yesyuhu. He's saying that only persons deprived of their intelligence by the spell of deluding energy will worship those feet with a view to what? To attain the trivial and momentary pleasures of the senses. And even that you are so kind, even that you grant. You are so kind that you bestow mercy even upon them. So here he's saying, yeah, your lotus feet can be taken by anyone. Huh? Yeah, anyone can take to your lotus feet and be blessed. Huh? Um, Ideally, your lotus feet is for what? Is to cross over the ocean of mundane nescience. The first two lines are telling about that. What is the purpose of taking shelter of the lotus feet? Your lotus feet are the true vessel to take one ac across the ocean of mundane nescience. So that is the purpose. But people, uh, Kardama is saying, but people deprived of their intelligence. Why? Because of delusion, energy in Maya, in material world. What are they doing? Because of attraction, pleasure for senses, they are asking the things that are trivial, not so important, and only for what they can get for temporary pleasure. You are so kind, still you give it. So Uh, I think in the purport it's mentioned. Yeah, the material pleasures can be obtained even by dogs and hogs, uh, whose condition of life is hellish. The hog also eats, sleeps, and enjoys sex life to the full extent, and it is also very satisfied with such hellish enjoyment of material existence. Modern yogis advise that because one has senses, one must enjoy to the fullest extent like cats and dogs, yet one can go on and practice yoga. What is that called? Um, yeah, so here there is this example given, where material pleasure can be attained even by hogs and dogs. For that matter, um, there is this Vatsyayana who has written Kama Sutra, and the principles that are derived are how the animals are enjoying and how humans can imitate and enjoy. So if we see that, that shows the animals are even in a good position for their sex life, yeah, enjoyment. But being a human, we have to understand that sense control is very important. Why? Because we don't want to be animals like hogs and dogs. Why? Because they don't have the intelligence beyond enjoyment, but we have the capacity. This is condemned here. Where is that? Modern yogis advise that because one has senses, one must enjoy to fullest extent like cats and dogs. Huh? This is what I mean. I was referring to this Vatsa and Kama Sutras and so many who have written. They add the divinity of Lord Shiva and Parvati. Huh? Yet one can go on and practice yoga. No, this is condemned here by Kardama Muni. He says that such material pleasures are available for cats and dogs in a hellish condition. The Lord is so kind that if so-called yogis are satisfied by hellish pleasures, huh, He can give them facilities to attain all the material pleasures they desire, but they cannot attain perfect state attained by Kardama Muni. And then further explanation is given. What is the example here? Such persons, they advise that one can satisfy the senses and at the same time by reciting some mantras and by some practice can cheaply aspire for perfection. Such persons are described here as hatamedasa, which means those whose brains are spoiled. They aspire for material enjoyment uh, by perfection of yoga or meditation. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated by the Lord that the intelligence of those who worship the demigods has been spoiled. Similarly, here too, it is stated by Kardama Muni that one who aspires after material enjoyment by practice of yoga has spoiled his brain, substance, and is fool. Number one. Mentioning again, the Lord is so kind, however, that even today, persons whose brain substance is spoiled are given the benediction to become cats, dogs, or hogs and enjoy material happiness from sex life and sense gratification. The Lord confirms this benediction in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever a person aspires to receive from me, I offer him as he desires. Hmm? So, and then I am also like them. Now, Kardamaman is saying that uh, he he's saying I am not exception. Yeah, he's saying that the ultimate purpose is ultimately one should be like this top first class devotee. What should he do? He should pray only for what? Spiritual, for mm, devotional service. Yeah, yeah. Because your feet are so, it's like one can cross over the ocean of mundane science. That should be the goal to worship you. Huh? But he has given a second type of devotees who wants to enjoy matter. He's saying that I also belong in that only. So though Kardama Muni, who is such a great yogi, who has done 10,000 years of penance and even have darshan of the Lord, he is saying that therefore, no, did I skip? No, therefore, desiring to marry a girl like disposition, who may prove to be, yeah, he is saying even such. I also belong in this second group. Why? Because to satisfy my lustful desire, I too have sought the shelter of your lotus feet, huh? Which are the source of everything. For you are like a desire tree. So here this is the connection, or actually he's saying, in spite of his condemning persons who approach the Lord for material advantage, Kardama Muni expressed his material inability and desire before the Lord by saying, although I know that nothing material should be asked from you, I nevertheless desire to marry a girl of like disposition. Like disposition is very significant. Like means like whom I am thinking that so and so girl should be my wife. Who? Of like-minded. This is the very very important in married life. Like disposition is very important. Otherwise, what happens is um, the couple will not stay long. The wife and husband will not, because they don't have like-mindedness. They don't have a common goal. Yeah, they have different goals. They have different thoughts. They have different um, expectations, and because of which they don't meet. And when they don't meet, then they break apart. So here this word like disposition is very important. Where is that word? Desiring to marry whom? Samana Seelamam. So same. Formerly, boys and girls of similar disposition were married. The similar nature of the boy and girl were united in order to make them happy. Yeah, not more than 25 years ago, and perhaps it is still current. Parents in India used to consult the horoscope of boy and girl to see whether there would be factual union in their psychological conditions. These considerations are very important. But what to do in today's society? We don't have expert astrologers. And for that matter, if you start seeing the astrological charts and the probability of finding a match, because Maharaj, his own name is Kadam Garan Maharaj, there is no perfect match. There is no perfect, what do you call, uh, mm, yeah, perfect match doesn't exist. There is always after marriage one has to make it perfect. Not that, of course, horoscopes can help, because at least the what do you call, favorable and non-favorable, yeah, influences are taken into account of deciding what is the nature of the boy and girl, and how can they accommodate and compromise and lead a happy married life. That's why it's considered. These considerations are very important. It's mentioned nowadays marriage takes place without such consultation, and therefore such soon after the marriage there is divorce and separation. Formerly, husband and wife used to live together peacefully throughout their whole lives. But nowadays it is very difficult task. Why? Because that so-called or would-be husband and would-be wife, they are already living together before marriage. They want to try few years, and in this trial they have full freedom to take a U-turn or a back step, and that makes it highly less likely to go into a successful marriage and successful married life, because the door is always open. Yeah, when the door is open, there is no question of compromising, because our egos are so strong that we will think, ah, no, if not you, I have something else. I have something else on my table. Kardama Muni wanted to have a wife of like disposition because a wife is necessary to assist in spiritual and material advancement. It is said that a wife yields the fulfillment of all desires in religion, dharma, artha, and kama. If one has a nice wife, he is to be considered a most fortunate man. In astrology, a man is considered fortunate who has great wealth, very good sons, or a very good wife. Of these three, one who has a very good wife is considered the most fortunate. Huh? Before marrying, one should select a wife of like disposition and not be enamored by so-called beauty or other attractive features for sense gratification. This means when the matches, what do you call match? What do you call this matrimonial? What are the sites called? When alliances, yeah. So when seeing the alliances, yeah, one should be very careful, not just carried away by allurement, infatuation, but should understand really is it the right character, is it right qualities what I'm looking are there. So this like disposition is very important. In the Bhagavatam 12th canto, it is said that in the Kali Yuga, marriage will be based on consideration of sex life. There is no question, there is no doubt about it, because we see the criteria that sometimes a boy or a girl have while looking up for alliance, marriage alliance, is they see whether the boy is tall, whether he has hair, whether he is fair, whether um, he has property, whether he has only um, one brother or sister, all seeing what is comfortable for self, yeah. And whereas the boy is looking also that okay, that the girl is beautiful, yeah. At least in previous days they were checking whether the girl can sing nicely, of course when this question is asked, yeah, during the engagement, not engagement, during alliance, the question is asked, can you sing? The girl will not sing some Hollywood, Bollywood songs. She sings devotional songs. Why? Because it is checked that the girl can assist in in the married life, bringing devotional service, so that both can uh, lead a devotional life. Hmm. So anyway, that is a topic on its own. Kardama Muni could have asked his benediction from Uma, Katyayani, right? For it is recommended in the scriptures that if anyone wants a good wife, he should worship Uma, not our Uma. But he preferred to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead because it is recommended in the Bhagavatam that everyone, whether he is full of desires, has no desires, or desires liberation, should worship the Supreme Lord. Of these three classes of men, one tries to be happy by fulfillment of material desires, another wants to be happy by becoming one with the Supreme, and another, the third one, the perfect man, is a devotee. He does not want anything in return from the personality of Godhead. The advantage of worshipping the Supreme Person is that even if one has desires for material enjoyment, if he worships Krishna, he will gradually become a pure devotee and have no more material hankering. Arun Prabhu. Make a note of this. Why not demigod worship? Yeah, by worshipping Krishna, we get this what we want. At the same time, also become devotee, which is not the case in other. Okay. Oh my Lord, you are the master and leader of all living entities. Under your direction, all conditioned souls, as if bound by a rope, are consistently engaged in satisfying their desires. Following them, Huh? I also bear oblations for you, who are eternal time. Yeah. Here, the question may arise. Here, these are all linked verses. Yeah. We to understand what was the mindset of Kardama Muni. Yeah. He is saying that I am not um, great. I also have lusty desires, and now he is saying, uh, um, why does he worship the Lord without material desire? Hmm. Kardama Since Kardama Muni was advanced in spiritual life, why then did he not ask the Lord for liberation? Hmm? If he is already self-realized, if he knows, why did he do that? Because It is the command of his father. It was his command of his father uh, that he takes part in the service to the Lord, because Brahma was instructed by Krishna so that Brahma can expand populate the material world with living entities. So Kardama Muni, being his son, he is following this order. Yeah. Why then did he not ask Lord for liberation? Why did he want to enjoy material life in spite of his personally seeing and experiencing the Supreme Lord? The answer is that not everyone is competent to be liberated from material bondage. Huh? So it's not an artificial thing that okay, now we are it's not in a lift where okay, now I have access to number 4, I can click the button 4 and I can straight away go to 4 without going through 1, 2 and 3. Yeah. So the purificatory process that has to happen uh, should happen. The Vedas are considered to be the direct words of the Lord. The Lord gives us the opportunity to enjoy material life as we want, and at the same time he gives directions for the modes and process of abiding by Vedas. Hmm? The best course is to abide by Vedic rules. And now here Kardama Muni addresses the Lord as Shuka, which means the leader of religion. One who is pious should follow the rules of religion, for such rules are prescribed by the Lord himself. No one can manufacture or concoct a religion. Religion refers to injunctions or laws of the Lord. Anyway, so in that way, it's mentioned what are the rules and regulations to be followed and marry and live peacefully for elevation to higher stages of spiritual realization. So that is the goal. And then, however, hmm, however, the question now comes is, but why did you criticize others' material desire? Kardama Muni said that there are people and there are also people who are uh, asking wrong desires. So in that way, there is this question of criticizing others, right? However, persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet, how can one can take it? By drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from primary necessities of the material body. So here he is saying that this I think Lokana, yeah, lokamscha lokanugatan pasumscha hitva srityaste charanattaram paratram परस्परं त्वगुणवादसीदु पीयूष निर्यापित देह dharma about the body, the primary necessities of the body. So persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, lokanugatan, and have taken shelter of your lotus feet by discussing Krishna Katha, which are sweet, piyusha and intoxicating. Piyusha Siddha will be freed from bodily afflictions. And then um, this particular purport is nice. Yeah. Constant transmigration of soul from one body to another is the cause of suffering, which we call as samsara. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his prayer to the spiritual master has described this. Hmm? It's like terrible fire. Where is that? But the process under which birth and death take place is like a terrible fire. A forest fire takes place automatically without anyone's endeavor. We know, right, how no one is going with a matchstick or a torch and burning the fire. No, it is that the woods, when they are dry, when they are rubbing against each other, then the fire comes from and then what is happening? The raging forest fire can be extinguished only when there is a constant downpour of water from a cloud. So the cloud is compared to the mercy of the spiritual master. By the grace of spiritual master, the cloud of mercy of the personality of Godhead is brought in. And then only when the rains of Krishna consciousness falls can the fire of material existence be extinguished. This is also explained here. In order to find freedom from the stereotyped conditional life of material existence, one has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, not in the manner in which the impersonalists indulge, but in devotional service, chanting, and hearing of the activities of the Lord. Yeah? So, chanting and hearing is mentioned here, and hearing of the glories of the Lord is described here as Tvad Gunavada Sidhu. Huh? Only by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord can one forget the intoxication of material existence. I can even tell this is the most recommended way. Otherwise, what can happen when we are going in the direction of Smartha Brahmanas, of only um, reciting Vedas just like a parrot, not digesting the essence of it? Huh? We will not go much far. We can only hear when we are hearing the glories of the Lord. We don't have to even become a smarta brahmanas. We don't need even to become, what do you call, experts in Sanskrit, experts in shlokas, expert in reciting. The only simple thing is what? By hearing and chanting the glories, activities, and the names of the Lord, one can attain perfection. Only by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord can one forget the intoxication of material existence. What is the secret of getting out of this whole science? Is this one principle. Yeah. And then here next he is saying, um, then there is explanation about the wheel, yeah, the time. Yeah, there is this your wheel which has three naves rotates around the axis of imperishable Brahman. Anyway, this is some more technical mm, about how this 360 joints are called 360 days, six rims are called seasons, numberless leaves carved upon it. Yeah, so these are like um, time. Time has a Brahman as axle. Yeah, axle on which the wheel rotates, right? And then 13 are the months, 12 months and one adhikamas as spokes. Yeah, and 360 days and nights as the joints, six seasons as the rim, unlimited seconds as the edges, three groups of 4 months as the nave and moves with great velocity. Yeah, anyway, that is the detail. The greatest danger is transmigration. So this, so it's many here. Adhika Masa or Malamasa. Hmm. My dear Lord, you alone, yeah, you alone are the creator, maintainer, and destroyer of these universes through your Yoga Maya. Just how? What is the example? Creator, maintainer, and destroyer. The example is given here as a spider, which can create its cobweb, web cob, or what do you call cobweb, and it can also wind it up. Huh? It will spread its cobweb to capture an insect, and after eating that, it will simply wind it up. That is the beauty. Similar, Lord creates. Um, of course, in the next verse he says, why does he create? Yeah, that is very important. In the next verse he says why he creates is the first part. Naitad batadisa padam tavepsitam यन्मायया न तनुसे भूतसूक्ष्मम् अनुग्रहायास्त्व अपि यर्हि मायया लसत्तुलस्या भगवान vilakshita. The first part of this is, although it is not your desire, clearly it is saying it is not like spider where spider want to eat that fly or insect captured, that's why it has spun a spider web cob. But Lord is creating all this for what? You manifest this creation of gross and subtle elements just for our sensual satisfaction. Let your causeless mercy be upon us, for you have appeared before us in your eternal form, adorned with a splendid wreath of tulsi leaves. So here it is mentioned that this the purpose of creation by the Lord is not for him but for us. There is elaborate explanation. The Lord unwillingly creates this material world, but he descends in his personal form or sends one of his reliable sons or a servant or a reliable author like Vyasadev to give instruction. He himself also instructs in his speeches of Bhagavad Gita. This propaganda work goes on side by side with creation to convince the misguided living entities. Therefore, the last instruction of Bhagavad Gita is, this is very we come across often, give up all your manufactured engagements in the material world and just surrender unto me. And what is the benefit of it? I shall protect you from all sinful reaction. Sarva dharma parigyam mamekam sharanam raja. Yeah, so this is what Lord is confirming and assuring what we get. Tam tvanubhutayo parata kriyartham swamayaya vartita lokatantram namami abhikshanam namaniya pada sarojam alpiyasi kama varsam. I continuously, now Kardama Muni is saying, continuously offer my respectful obeisances unto your lotus feet, of which it is worthy to take shelter. Because why? Because you shower all benedictions on the insignificant. This is the secret, or this is what you call uh, inspirational point, that Lord is granting benediction even for any insignificant being. To give all living entities detachment from fruitive activity by realizing you have expanded these material worlds by your own energy. Yeah. Yeah, and this is what we were telling about the difference between humans and animals. Athat Brahma Jigyasa, that inquisitiveness is the secret. Liberation is for one who is disgusted with material enjoyment. For those who want to know the absolute truth, Vedanta Sutra is available, as is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the actual explanation of Vedanta Sutra. Since Bhagavad Gita is also Vedanta Sutra, by understanding Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Vedanta Sutra, or Bhagavad Gita, one can obtain real knowledge. So we don't have to go into the Samaveda, Yajurveda, Atharvana Veda, and Upanishads and Puranas and all these things. This knowledge, what is in Bhagavatam, that is the summary, Samanbonan of everything to be known. When one obtains real knowledge, he becomes theoretically one with the Supreme. The word, Kamavarsham, The word Kamavarsham is very significant, for it indicates that he satisfies the desires of anyone who approaches him. Whoever has Kama, whoever has the desire, Lord is pleased and satisfies. But one who sincerely loves Krishna and yet wants material enjoyment is in perplexity. Krishna, being very kind towards him, what is the result for him? Gives him an opportunity to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. And so he gradually forgets the hallucination. Okay, this is finishing, and where Maitreya Rishi is just saying, sincerely extolled in these words, Lord Vishnu, shining very beautifully on the shoulders of Garuda, replied with words as sweet as nectar. His eyebrows moved gracefully as he looked at the sage with a smile full of affection. Yeah, so we will discuss from here. I think this is what Lord Bhagavan, Sri Bhagavan Vacha, Viditvatava Chaityam. Yeah, anyway, we will discuss this from 23, hopefully finish the chapter uh, next week. Thank you very much for your time. Anything anyone want to add? Any questions?
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes, for
Yeah.
Omkar Prabhu.
Arun Prabhu, you are speaking or someone else is speaking?
No, I was just saying, thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Did you
So no
join from two places? It's echoing. You can hear echo.
Yeah, I have joined only one place. So Hare Krishna
Oh,
Prabhuji, it was really very wonderful class, Prabhuji, very wonderful. You have finished these 22 verses in 1.5 hour. If I read it, then I can finish only maybe 2 verses in this 1.5 or maybe 4 verses maximum. But
This is
because
what
of your
now? Even Sukadeva
personal,
Goswami also is stuck in only one verse. He could not go to the next verse.
yeah, because of your realizations and your experience in Bhagavatam, you are able to compress us the nectar from this and giving us the main realizations and yeah, knowledge. So it's really nice, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, with your inspiration and yeah, we are having these sessions.
Yeah.
That helps me also to relish Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, yes. Somewhere it is mentioned that we have to worship Uma to get a good wife. So
Yeah.
I am doing this last 18 years. Now it is 19th years
You
to
got
worship
it.
Uma. And now worshipping Ambika also.
Yeah. Yeah. So very nice, no? So you had an opportunity. You don't have to search. You don't have to go somewhere. Or maybe Uma Mataji has worshipped Uma, so she got you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I did Sola Somvar, Shiv, Lord Shiv, Shivji to get Om Prabhu.
That is also very interesting, na? Can you tell me into, I mean, maybe in short?
Sai Prabhuji, I can't hear you properly. Your voice is breaking.
No, I mean, there is also something surprising happened, na? For your marriage. I mean,
Yes,
how
yes.
you got? Yeah, I forgot. Can you say again?
Marriage. Our marriage was on Shivratri.
Yeah, correct. On Shivratri.
And my name was Umapati before, like my Patra name, astrology name was Umapati at my home, and I was already born 3 years before, and then her name was Uma. It was just yeah, by chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Prabhuji, I
that's
think
so
now
nice.
everybody will join now the DT worship course, Prabhuji. So thank
Yes,
you very much.
Prabhuji. That's why I was trying to not go more verses. So I stopped. Yeah, so I will leave you. So have a small break and join. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah, and let us see us tomorrow in Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
No,
Yeah.
tomorrow I think will not be possible because you'll have DT worship course. So let's see.
Yeah. And from this, Prabhuji, there are many things which I have to understand. There are so many. It was completely rich topic today.
Yeah.
And maybe in next class we can maybe take some question answer from today's session also.
Yeah, we can also do that.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Nice. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarabhyasya kripa sindhubhya च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की जय. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna.